good. All right. Well, Jake, I guess no pads is the crazy time for an O-line coach because you always want to see guys in pads. But how good was it just to get on the practice field for the first time?
Yeah, it was great getting out there and working with the guys and just being first day of a brand new program and in a new building in a place with so much history. It was when I walked out there, I had to take a minute and kind of let it soak in. But it was fun being out there with the guys. I thought they worked really, really hard. Obviously a lot of stuff to clean up, but there's also a ton of good to build off of. So it was fun being out there again.
Go ahead. So what's it like when so many new guys that you're having to really see for the first time? I mean, everybody. And what's that like as a coach when you start to watch guys run around and move around for the first time?
Yeah, we have a lot of new faces, but for me, all of them are new. So, I tried to do the best I could going into it of knowing strengths and weaknesses and watching the guys over the winter, conditioning stuff and kind of figuring out what they were good at and not so good at, and what we needed to work on and improve. So kind of had an idea going into the practice of what it was, but it was fun to watch those guys in a working environment. A lot of new faces and a lot of guys playing next to each other that had never played next to each other before. And I thought for that part of it, it was a pretty smooth transition for a lot of those guys.
Sometimes the offensive line coach flies under the shadows of other coaches, but here you're set with rebuilding an offensive line that's been kind of dismal in the last couple of years and totally rebuilding with, I think, 8 new signees. How exciting is that, and how much pressure does that also bring to your position?
Yeah, it's certainly exciting. To do it at a place like Auburn is something that I've always wanted to come and do. And so, as far as the pressure, this is the SEC. So any situation, any team, any game, everything is pressure-filled. But that's why we as competitors do that, and that's why we accept these challenges. And so I'm excited about it. I couldn't ask for a better group as far as work ethic, and they want to be good. They want to rewrite the script, flip the script, as Coach Freeze has been talking about. So I'm excited to keep it going and see where it leads us.
The trio of new guys that you brought in Dylan, Gunner, and Avery, just how have you seen them kind of take to the group? And I mean, with as much experience as they have, I mean, have you seen them kind of step into leadership roles, or just what's their place, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, I think all three of them have found their role in equal parts. All three of none of the three are extremely vocal, but their presence out there is certainly felt. Yesterday you can tell that Gunner has played a ton of football at multiple positions. The way he practices, the way he carries himself, he kind of has that demeanor out there that I think a lot of people naturally, they flock to him in practice situations because he's got so much experience. D. Wade's got a big personality, and so those guys, as far as off the field, I know they spend a lot of time with him, and him out there on the field, he's a competitor now. He wants to finish, he looks to finish, and so he brings that element to it. And then Avery, being the guy in the middle, also playing a ton of football. He brings an element of leadership, vocal leadership, making the calls, getting everybody on the right direction. And that was fun yesterday to watch in the one practice, right? So we can't make good or bad judgments really based off one practice, but to watch him operate and get everybody on the same page next to Tate and next to Stutz, those guys just kind of getting them all in the right direction, that was certainly fun to watch.
Because there's so many new guys and it's a new system, it's everything. I mean, there's probably gonna be a whole lot of experimentation going on in the spring with moving guys around and kind of trying to find different combinations. Is that pretty much the case?
Yeah, yes, that is the case. I want all my guys to know how to play all 5. I think that's the best for their personal development. If they want to play in the National Football League, and unless you're the $40 million first-round left tackle, you need to know how to play all 5 of them. That's something that I did at my previous place, and I try to teach those guys every position, because if they're the starting left guard, they got to know what the center's doing every play and what the tackle's doing every play. And to know their footwork, they can seam their process together. And so there will be guys that get reps at multiple positions for their own personal development and ultimately whatever is best for our football team and our organization.
Especially learning a new offense, how valuable is that to go ahead and say, look, we're going to learn everything just to give them a better grasp of things maybe quicker?
Yes, absolutely. With the tempo part of it and the different ways we do different things, them having a full understanding of what they're doing. And the first thing we talked about in our first O-line meeting was they got to know what they're doing, they got to know how they're doing it, and they got to know why they're doing it. And if they don't know, they have to know all three of those on every play, every situation. If they don't, then I failed them as a coach, and they're not going to be fully prepared. And so teaching them off those three things, they have to know not only what us five are doing up front, but what's that tailback doing? What's that tight end doing? Where's the quarterback's eyes, okay? We don't get so much in the perimeter part of it with receivers, but we do try to teach them where their eyes are pre-snap in relation to what the play is.
You talked about the other three transfers. What's Xavier been like?
Yeah, Xavier, that was exciting for me yesterday to watch him because I've watched him over the last year in recruiting, and to watch his he's still climbing, he's still getting better. But to watch him get out there and play tackle in an SEC practice is something that I've been projecting for 11 months now in the recruiting process. And to watch him out there, I think that was it was good for me because it validated everything that I thought about him and everything I think about him. And he is, in my opinion, of those guys up front, his body has changed the most from day one to right now. And that's a credit to our strength staff and our nutrition staff. Getting him in the right situation, getting him a meal plan, getting him in the weight room, and he's really made a ton of progress, and I'm excited to see how far he's going to come over the next 14 practices.
With